Hi, I'm Sarah with EdReports, and I'm going to talk today a little bit about Google Docs with you. We're going to go over your general Gmail account that you need to have for your Google Docs, some formatting. We're going to go over how to make comments. We're going to talk about editing and suggesting mode, and we're going to talk about some bullet points and just general formatting with the Google Doc. So I'm talking to you through Zoom, so you can share your screen with Zoom. So I'm just going to click to share screen at the bottom of the Zoom page. Then I'm going to share my screen with you. This is a typical document that you would see through EdReports. It's one that would be shared with you through your cluster group. This is 1C reviewer evidence for the evidence collection in 1C. So you can see this is typical what each Google Doc would look like. The top, there's a header that talks about which indicator you're looking at. It tells you how to do a possible score. So for this indicator, the score could be 0, 1, or 2. And then the next section down here is the evidence. So you would type in your evidence here, whether that's a narrative form, a table, bullet points, however you're going to use this to collect your evidence. So a couple of quick formatting things with this document. You want to make sure that if you do use bullet points, you just use the first level of bullet points. You don't want to go into the second and third levels of bullet points. It's just really difficult to do with the formatting when we try to get our final report. And sometimes it gets a little confusing. So try to just summarize using the first level of bullet points as you're in there. Another thing you want to think about with your Google Docs is when you have your account, you want to make sure that the account you're using is your private Gmail account. You probably best practice not to use a school or work account, as sometimes school or work, depending on what that is, could own that account or get into those different accounts. So you might just want to have an account that you create specifically for EdReports that you can use that. Of course, if you only have the one, then you're welcome to do that. Also, we just want to make sure that you're aware of that. One of the other things that you'll want to learn to do on Google Docs is to be able to make a comment. So even right now, we are in editing mode, and you can see the mode is right up here. There's 3 different modes that you can be in. We're in the editing mode. So in this editing mode, you can actually make comments. So if I wanted to make a comment here, but not necessarily put it into the Google Doc, once I highlight a piece of text, a plus sign over here is going to show up. Once you mouse over that and click on it, a little box comes up. And then I can type a comment in this box, and I can then click on the blue box that says comment. Or if I want to make sure that someone specifically sees this comment, or I'm assigning it to someone in my group, I can then type their name in this box, and you have to start with a capital letter for their name. And if they are in the network of where you have shared this Google Doc or where it has been shared with you, then their name will pop up. So for instance, here's cluster groups. And if I want to assign this to them so that they know that they have to answer it or they have to do something responsible for marking it as done, then I'm going to click that it's going to be assigned to cluster groups. I can click on that and it will pop up there. So it's going to show that it's assigned to the cluster groups, that I assigned it to them. Once it's on, there's a couple of other things that you can do with it. I can click this little check mark and it will mark it as done, and it will hide the discussion. I can also click here and edit my comment. I can delete my comment. I can put another link into this comment. So there's several things that you can do with this. Another thing you can do in your Google Doc is change it from editing mode to suggesting mode. So sometimes once you have created your, put all of your evidence in, and maybe your facilitator for your cluster group has taken all of the evidence and has put it into the evidence synthesis page, they might change it over to suggesting mode. So anything that you put in, you can no longer edit the actual document here, but if you do, what it's going to do is show up as a suggestion. And then the person that changed it to suggesting mode can go in and accept those suggestions or delete the suggestions. So if I wanted to delete the word bullet points right here, I would highlight it, go ahead and click my delete button, and it's going to show up over here as a suggestion on the side that we should delete these 2 words, bullet points. So you could delete it. I can go in, I can accept this suggestion, or I can reject the suggestion. If I reject it, then it's just going to put it back to how it was. If I accept it, then it will go in and actually do the deleting of those words or phrases or sentences or whatever it is. I can also highlight here, and then I can type a different word So if I want the word second in there instead of first, I can do that, and then it shows up as what the suggestion would be to replace first with second. It crosses out the word that I want to delete, and it puts the new word in there. And again, I can accept or reject the suggestion. In this case, I would reject it and leave it as the first level of points there. So that is just a little bit of information about a Google Doc. And so when you're finished here, you're going to mouse over your page again, click Stop Share at the top. It's a little red box. And then you are finished sharing, and you're back on your regular screen for Zoom.